Okay, welcome. So before we get started, I wondered if everybody could go around and introduce themselves. Thanks for joining tonight. And as Lynn said, we're going to record this so that we can put it out on the District 6310 website so that more of our students can see it, because that's actually one of the things that was mentioned in a lot of the reviews, saying we need to get more information out to the high schools, right? So if we go around, I am Melanie McCoy, and I am from the Seaboing Rotary Club, and I was district governor last year. So I'll start with that. And I am just becoming involved in the short-term youth exchange. So I'm the newbie here. Okay. And so I'll go around. If Lynn, you want to go?
Sure. I'm Lynn Mishley, Midland Morning Rotary Club member, and I've been part of Youth Exchange, first the long-term program and now the short-term program for probably about 20 years.
Good. Jolene and Colton?
I'm Jolene Compton. I'm from the Gladwin Rotary Club. I've been very involved in long-term exchange and also short-term exchange. I had a son that did short-term exchange, Colton. I'll let him introduce himself. And I also had a daughter that did long-term exchange. I am the future district chair for Rotary Youth Exchange, short and long, at the district level. And the intent is come January, I will assume that role. So,
Yeah, I'm Colton Compton. I was a short-term exchange student 2 years ago, and I traveled to Germany. And yeah, yeah.
Great. Okay. Gail?
Gail, I'm a member of Saginaw Sunrise Rotary, and I'm new to this, but I did help a little bit. I took our short-term exchange student last year around to a number of different places.
Cool. Excellent. Stephanie and Micah?
Go ahead, Micah.
So my name's Micah. I participated in the short-term exchange program last year. I also went to Germany, and
yeah, I'm Stephanie, and helped Micah through that process a little bit. We really enjoyed having the student come back, and the whole thing was great, and I loved it so much that I'm starting to be involved with the STEP program too, so just really excited.
Great. Excellent. Sue?
Hi, I'm Sue, and my daughter, Charlie, who she's at college but is not feeling well enough to join us on the call today. She did a short-term exchange to Italy and also had a great experience with the one that came back, with the gal that came back with her, and she had a fabulous time as well.
Great. Excellent. Okay, Robin.
Yeah, I'm Mount Pleasant Rotary, and this is my second year with the STEP program, but I've also been involved in long-term. And this year I'm looking forward to knowing a little bit more about what I'm doing.
Okay, great. Colleen.
Hi, I'm Colleen Reeder, and Eva and I are from Beaverton. She'll introduce herself here. And Eva was part of the short-term exchange last year, 2 years ago. 2023, but in the summer. So
yeah, I did the short-term exchange to Italy. I had an amazing time. I have a great relationship with my host sister. So yeah.
Great. Excellent. Thanks. And Hillary.
And she's interested in possibly doing this project next time.
Okay, I see you're not muted, but I didn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, maybe we're just not close enough.
Okay.
This is my daughter Morgan. She's a sophomore in high school, and she is interested in possibly doing this program in the future.
Excellent. Great. So you're going to hear some great stories tonight. So I guess we could get started with the PowerPoint. And this is a picture of orientation a couple years ago and some of our other short-term photos. And just so you know, we're going to try and we're definitely going to make it under an hour tonight. Last year, I think Alicia did it in 45. I don't know if we'll make that, but the idea is to get as much information as we can out there. And especially since we're recording it, we'll be able to share it with others. Okay. We can go to the next one. We just did this introduction. I was wondering that, but I'd rather look at the people when we went around. So if we want, let's go to the next screen. And this is going to be our agenda. But the cool thing is we have other students with us. So if we wanted to start right now, we have a video from Brooke. Do we want to do Brooke's video first or do we want to do it last?
Well, since you're on the screen, you might as well do it first.
Okay. Okay. I'm not getting sound.
Okay, I'll try one more time on the sound. Let's
Okay.
see. Is it showing?
It's showing, but we're not hearing it.
Okay, maybe we'll go around with the
Yep.
other testimonials and I'll work on this.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Maybe Micah wants to go while I work on this.
Okay, very good. Yeah, okay. Micah, if, yeah, we'll throw it out to you, Micah, if you want. That was the next slide, which was just a picture, but if you wanted to give some of the highlights, what you thought were great in the program and maybe something that you learned that you could share with anybody that's interested in it.
So the program itself, I really liked how the process was very simple. It was pretty quick. I mean, I was given my my family about only after a couple weeks or a month of looking, and I got the country that I wanted to go to. So that was very nice, and the program itself was very friendly. That was a very good part of the program. And the actual trip itself, it was a lot of fun. Being able to really immerse myself in another culture separate from ours and see the way people from other countries, the way they view things around the world, the way that they like the things that they do for fun, and the way they look at issues is very interesting. And a lot of the fun was seeing a lot of the sights. I went to Germany. I saw the Alps. I saw Berlin. So much history, so much beauty there. It was really an incredible experience. And the only thing that was, I would say, not like great about the experience was that the first week there is pretty uncomfortable. I mean, you're getting used to being in a new place with people who don't speak the same language as you. They don't do the same things as you. It's definitely, for the first week, kind of like shell shock almost. But after that, I mean, once you get used to being there, it's amazing. It was really a great experience, and I'm glad I did it.
Cool, excellent. Okay, who wants to go next? Eva or Colton? All right, Eva.
Yeah, I'll go. So I went to Italy. I would say that like my decision to do the program was like pretty spontaneous. Like I always wanted to have an exchange student. I never necessarily wanted to be one, but I was really interested in traveling. So when we found this program where I could travel and get the experience of being an exchange student and hosting one, it was pretty much a no-brainer that we should do it. I would say definitely the hosting part was really amazing. Like, it's just so fun being able to like show them everything in America. And I know the Italians had a great time hosting me too, because they really want to show off their culture. And I think for me, it was really cool to have a perspective of not a tourist. Like, obviously they want to show the touristy sides of their culture, but they also show you a lot that's not touristy. So it's really fun to have like a unique perspective on that. I would say the downside for me was when I was coming back from Italy, my whole flight got messed up, which there was nothing really that could have been done about that. But and I would say that like the hard time for me when I was in Italy wasn't actually the first week. It was more like the second week, kind of, because the first week it was all new and it was like crazy and whatever. But then once I was like, okay, now I'm kind of like missing my family, then it got harder. But yeah, overall, it was an amazing experience. I'm so happy I did it. It really fulfilled my like love for traveling and inspired me to want to travel a lot more. So
Excellent. Great, thanks. Okay, Colton.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, I went to Germany with Julius, which was my partner who I was paired up with. My experience was a lot like Micah's. I had a blast because I was in Munich, so southern Germany, Bavaria, seeing all the history and learning so much, and they're showing me their culture. Um, yeah, I had a great time, and then similar thing with the shell shock. The first week, you're just kind of getting used to actually being in the atmosphere of a totally different place. And then once you get into it, uh, you just keep going, keep chugging along, and you have a blast. And I actually think the only downside I had was it wasn't long enough. You know, you always wish it's a little bit longer for both sides of when you're showing the person you're with of America, or when you're there enjoying Europe or wherever you go. Um, my experience with Julius was fantastic.
That's excellent. Okay, so we also have parents here that I know a lot of the parents are anxious ahead of time and kind of wondering about it. So do the parents want to have something to say now, or go through the steps of the process, or do you want to just share some of your thoughts now? Stephanie, Sue, or Colleen, or Jolene?
I can say a few things. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. As a parent, I thought Rotary was just outstanding to work with. Charlotte did get her first choice of country as well. And there was the first family and student that we had considered. There was a couple of concerns. And so we walked through that with Lynn, and she understood. She said, yes, I would have the same reasons for pause, but these are the questions I would ask. And so then we asked those questions with that family, and then decided, yeah, we're still thinking that maybe we'd like to proceed with another family. And we did, and it worked out wonderfully, a better fit. It was just super smooth on that part. And then I found the European system of working with the WhatsApp app. I think it's called WhatsApp. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, great. It's been a while now since I've used it, but I still converse with the mom on that now and then. I'm sure we'll exchange some holiday pleasantries and whatnot coming up. But I just thought it was lovely because that automatically translated for us. So even though we had no interest in knowing each other's languages, we were able to communicate very well. And then our kids could help us communicate if there was something like, oh, I heard this. What do you think your mom's saying there? And that was even before the exchange happened. Super awesome experience as a parent. And we have such wonderful things to show kids here in America. It was just a great experience from my standpoint.
Excellent. Okay, Stephanie?
We also had a really great experience. The whole process, going through each step of the program, was easy and wonderful. We got matched up with a great family. And the same thing, we use WhatsApp all the time, and I still talk to the mom all the time, and the boys still communicate, and just all around, it was great. I don't really have any complaints at all. It said it was such a good thing, and I enjoyed it so much that starting to help out because I want other kids and families to experience the same thing that we did.
Cool, thanks. Colleen? I know you had the whole flight issue.
There we go. Yeah, the flight thing was really unfortunate, and that was pretty awful. Just because we were on a time crunch, and here was Eva coming back with Martina, and so Eva was kind of in charge, and then there was this whole debacle, and that was a little touchy for a minute, but it turned out in the end. No, we had a wonderful time, and Martina enjoyed it so much she actually came back last year for prom, went to prom with the girls, and she was so excited to do that. And now my nephew Dominic over in Milwaukee is just finished a short term. We told him about the Rotary program, and he just did a really successful exchange as well. So we only have good things to say. I've been telling everyone I can about what a great program it is, especially for the cost. That's the other thing I try to impress upon people, what an amazing experience you could have for really just the price of a plane ticket, when it comes down to it, both on your kid traveling there, but also having a student in your home as well. So just an amazing program, really, not just wonderful things to say about it.
Great, thanks. Jolene?
As my mom had, I also have a frequent story. So Julius was our exchange partner, and he came back and visited us this just the end of the summer. He and his girlfriend, because he's 18 now, so he and his girlfriend came over, and it was wonderful to see him a couple years later and the growth that had occurred. So you can make some pretty lifelong relationships on short-term exchange that are very, very important for both families on each side.
Yeah, I'd say the benefit for him too is when he came back the second time is he was very confident in traveling wherever he wanted to. He felt very comfortable with public interactions and being wherever he needed to be. He ended up traveling all over the country. So I guess that's the benefit for both sides. You just get more familiar with how things happen.
That's excellent. Yeah. Okay, so if we wanted to go back to the PowerPoint, we'll go ahead and proceed with that. And we'll go through the PowerPoint, and then if there's any questions, and we'll talk about some things. So with this, we can go to the next one. We're going to go through, there's 4 slides of the, this is Brooke arriving just from a normal process. When you arrive in the other country, there's usually a Rotarian from the Rotary Club and your family or some other kind of group of people to meet you there. So it's a fun experience, I think. Everybody probably had a different experience, but all good. And so that's Brooke in Italy. And the next one is Isaac in Germany. Isaac isn't here, but I wanted to show this. This is Isaac and Charlie, and this was at the orientation. So there is this information meeting, and then we're going to go through some of the information, and then there's another information meeting or an orientation that is a pretty much a good part of a day where you go and you get a lot more of the details of the program, and you'll hear more about that along the way. Okay, and the next one is Charlie or Charlotte. One of the things that we always try and get the students to come back to a Rotary Club, either definitely here, but sometimes over in their exchange country to give a presentation. It's a great public speaking opportunity, and the clubs love to hear it, and it also spreads the word of the short-term exchange. And this was Charlotte with her exchange sister. And this is the one of Micah and Stephanie and the family, and their oh, help me, Stephanie, with your
Levy.
Levy was your exchange student. And usually when you are visiting there or when you come over here, you get to do a couple of fun trips in addition to like doing the normal day-to-day stuff. So here was the trip to Cedar Point. Okay, so now if we go to the next one, we do a little bit of background on Rotary International. This is my favorite part. Okay, so Rotary International is a service organization. It's one of the largest service organizations in the world. We started way back when it was just several businessmen in Chicago getting together to try and see how much they could accomplish together as a group. And that has grown into the 1.2 million people that we have today, Rotarians. We have a 4-way test. And we have 7 areas of focus. And the next slide is a little bit of the 4-way test. These are our guiding principles for Rotarians that was developed through the years. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all? And our Rotary Youth Exchange is actually designed to create peace in the world, one exchange at a time too. So we have 7 areas of focus. They've developed over the years, and in fact, we started with the basic education and literacy, maternal and child health care, peace and conflict resolution, water, sanitation and hygiene, economic development, disease prevention, which polio is one of the big focus areas for Rotary, and the eradication of polio. And the newest area of focus is supporting the environment. So those are areas that Rotary works on, and there's a lot of activity in each one of them. Okay, if we go to the next one. This is our district. Across the world, there are 500 districts in the world, and this is our district. We go from Alpena all the way down through Mount Pleasant, Clare, Mount Pleasant, down to Ithaca, Oscoda, Shepherd, and all the way up into the Thumb over to Pigeon and Harbor Beach. That's basically the area. So that if you are from this area, then we would connect you with one of our clubs to be your sponsored club. So we have 32 clubs. Our youth programs. In our district, we have 3 main youth programs. One of them is Interact, which is a Rotary club at high school level. And we have either 13 or 16 of them. I'm embarrassed to say, I can't remember exactly, but it has grown, and it's great opportunity. I know that our club partners with our Interact, like at Christmas time with supporting families, and the Interact would go out and help raise the funds and also go shopping for all the gifts and help deliver the projects. RYLA is Rotary Youth Leadership Academy or Awards, and that's held every year at Camp Rotary in Harrison, where it is an amazing, impactful, life-changing event for the students that go there. It's a 4-day event, and it is, everybody loves it. And then we have Youth Exchange, which is what we're talking about now. And in our Youth Exchange, we have the short term and the long term. So the next slide. So the long term is, I'll say, the traditional Youth Exchange. And that was when a student would leave for basically the year, and they would stay either. We would bring one into the US, into one of our clubs, or our students would go to another country, and they would usually live with 2 to 4 families. And the value there is that you get a little bit of a feel for different family environments. And I think it's great. And again, you develop more lifelong friends that way also. You're attending the high school while you're there. And it does cost around $5,000 or $6,000 But the value is, as was mentioned earlier, the Rotary Youth Exchange is, for the expense, it's an amazing value. So for the cost. And then we look at there is usually a stipend, just so you know, just on another note, on the long-term youth exchange, the students that come over here, and probably when you would go over to your other one, you would get a stipend from the clubs. They would help support you too. Short-term youth exchange, why we're here, and it is more of a family to family exchange. Just as was mentioned, the parents got to know the family on the other side, and I think that allows us all to be a little bit more comfortable with okay, where is my my son or daughter going, and do we know those people? It's usually 3 to 4 weeks in the summer. And you can schedule that at your, like, if you have a band camp or a football camp that you want to share with your exchange student, or you're going to be too busy, you can set it up at your schedule between you and your exchange brother or sister. So that was one of the things that somebody pointed out, that it was nice to be able to schedule it so that it works. And I know it was brought up that it was fun for the exchange students to come over to the US for like 4th of July. It was like an ideal time to visit, to experience our 4th of July. Both of these they're not vacations. They're immersive experiences. And they are, as has been mentioned, life-changing. I did miss the cost, but I think we talked about that before. So here's the process. I think this is the key slide of the whole evening. So between now and December 15th is when preliminary applications are completed, and they get submitted before December 15th. There's 2 criteria. One, you have to be between 15 and 18, and you have to have a GPA above 2.5. Those are the main criteria. And that application you can get on the District 6310 website under youth programs. January 5th, there's going to be an application meeting. And then by the 10th, we will identify a Rotary club that will be your sponsor. And a short-term exchange representative would be assigned. So on January 10th, the draft of the application is submitted for the students and the host family. So this is one of the things that I think Lynn would point out, that the student does the application, but the host family also has to do the application. And it's all because Rotary wants everybody to be safe and comfortable. So it is sometimes onerous to do the applications, but it's for everybody's benefit there. February 1st, Rotary would do a home visit and interviews, and then there's supplemental forms. And that's when you would pay the program fee, is that would get you started. And Robin might want to comment now about the matching. If you, I just see that the age requirement is 15 to 19, not 15 to 18. So I will get that fixed on the slides. So thank you, Lynn. So Robin, do you want to mention anything on the matching, on how we match students with similar interests in the countries that they would like to go to?
For Germany, we have a program called YOLAM, and I work with a lady named Claudia, and she submits her stuff, and I submit our applications. We look them over and try to match students with the best similar ideas and stuff. And that's just for Germany. And Lynn has done the other ones since, like I said, this is my first year, so was getting started. So if Lynn wants to comment on the other process.
Yeah, I guess in general, what it is we take the students' top, students will tell us their top 5, and we look at the first one first and see, we reach out across the globe to those countries where we have partner contacts. And we say, we have a student, do you have a student who wants to come to the US? And so a lot of it is done by individual. We start it kind of with emailing, but it also, like Germany, has a formal system that we input the applications into. But there is communication with each of the countries in order to see if they have students. And then, as Robin said, the same thing happens. They look at their students' applications, look at the age group. Are they at the younger end of the age group or the higher end of the age group, so that there's some compatibility there, looking at what kind of interest, are there sports interest, is there arts interest? We don't always come up with perfect matches, but there is effort put into considering the students and what's available in the countries that they would choose. Then when we get kind of a match that the coordinators feel is good, then it goes to first one family. Usually I think it's our US family gets to take a look at this application. As Sue told us, they look through it, they say, this looks good, or they say, we have some concerns. We look at it again and we say, oh, like Sue told us, and then we can go back to the originating country and say, we think there would be perhaps a better match. Do you have an alternative student that might be good for our student? So we do some customizing there. We can't, I guess I'd say, I don't think we can be perfect. And so some flexibility needs to exist on all people's parts, but there is an effort to come up with some compatibility and for the families to have some say and participation in that. And then it goes to the other family on the other side of the pond. And once we have those, then families begin communicating. And really the families do a lot of communicating once the match is made in order to really develop the details of the exchange, the time frame, the arrival, the departure for each student. Students will be together, really for 6 to 8 weeks. And each family will experience them 3 to 4 weeks.
Cool, thanks. The last on this slide is the orientation. As we mentioned, there is an orientation. We were actually talking about maybe splitting it up and having a Zoom orientation to cover some of the stuff, and the rest of it for in person. It's really good, I think, when the parents and the students are there, able to meet with the other parents and students, and you have some discussions about the culture differences and even the things like phone programs, how do you communicate, what the insurance, all those things that are covered in orientation. And it's and we also have a big section on safety too. So just to be able to get everybody. So then we have, this is a step process that we kind of talked a little bit about, but the partner Rotary clubs are identified in the student's country, preferred country, between February and March. Okay, so you're putting in the preliminary application on the 15th of December, and then in March or February to March, that's when what Lynn and Robin were talking about, that's when they start looking at the matches, and then the families begin the communication and decide on the trials. The travel plans, when you are set with your travel plans, then the step committee takes a look at that just to help and get any guidance, kind of like going with direct flights instead of potentially getting hung up in transfers. Insurance is purchased for the students. There's details to this, but the Rotary purchases the insurance except in unique situations, I think. Jolene would or no.
Actually, well, the students pay, the students' insurance
Yeah.
is paid out of the fees that they. So Rotary's not paying for it, the students do. But we get the fee and Jolene purchases it for those who want to purchase the US insurance. All students have to have some kind of insurance, either insurance from the US policy or insurance from the country they're going to. Anything you'd add to insurance, Jolene?
No, we've found that it's a process. And so we work with the families to see which program is more fitting for them for the insurance. But it's also very important to us that we make sure that our students have that additional layer of insurance because it definitely creates a comfort level all the way around as we send our precious babies traipsing around the world.
In Germany, and I think there might be, I don't know if there's any other countries, but Germany requires their own insurance. You have to purchase it from them. Stephanie remembers that.
Yeah, and we did have to purchase, they required a specific one. And it was like $35. So it's not, like a huge expense. So it was pretty easy to get it, and it was just a little, paperwork that we had to fill out. And so it wasn't painful at all.
Excellent. Great. Thanks. And through this, the Rotary clubs support the students and the host families with the guidance from the steps. So you have a lot of people that are there available to help answer questions, give you support. There are Rotarians around the world that we will hopefully connect you with in this process. So I believe the next one is questions. And so with that, we can probably open it up. And
yeah, let's go back to gallery and questions that especially our guests and Gail, any questions of the students, any questions of the parents, or questions about the program process.
Are the host families like gonna know how to speak English?
Well, it'll depend. Some of the students generally do. So it depends. Let's ask them. Colton, Eva, how much English did your host families know?
So, Julia spoke excellent English. I had no problem communicating with him. It came more from the accent. The accent was more of the issue at first, but as soon as he got the Midwestern, I guess, accent, he understood everything. Um, However, his parents, they understood English, like when you speak to them, but they can't always say it back. They will not be able to say it how you understand it. But I use hand signals all the time or visual representation. It tends to work quite well.
And there's always Google Translate.
And there's always Google Translate.
Eva, what would you add?
Yeah, I had a pretty experience. It was definitely Marty was the best out of really like anyone I met. Like her parents were pretty good. Definitely they could understand me better than I could understand them a lot. But Marty's like friends and siblings like really couldn't speak English at all. So I use Google Translate a lot with them. But yeah, I would say try to learn at least some basics like of the language. You pick it up pretty quick when you're there. Like I kind of felt like I was forgetting how to speak English when I was there because I was like, I don't know, I could understand Italian pretty well by the end, but I would say try to learn how to speak a little bit of the basics before you go.
Yeah, I've been taking French for 2 years, so
yeah.
hopefully I get French.
Yeah.
Yep, that was exactly what was in some of the comments from other students, was that they wish they had taken a little bit of Duolingo or whatever before they went. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Gail?
Melanie, my apologies that I couldn't get the video up and running, but perhaps we could also post it on the website if we have permission. And so that if somebody wants to see the couple of minutes video, that would be nice.
Gail, I see you unmuted.
I just want to say, I don't have any questions. But last year when we had the students here from, I think she was from Italy, but I took them to Mackinac Island, and the one we went to a friend of mine's cabin, and it was in the woods and everything. The exchange student was just so impressed with just the nature and the outdoors. She says, "I'm never leaving." So it was just a really great experience just to, as the Rotarian sponsor or whatever, to be able to take them and do a few things.
And we thank you, Gail, so much for kind of stepping up and doing that, because that did give the girls an added experience that they wouldn't have had probably otherwise.
I'm not sure if, everybody, but Lynn, can you tell them what we had to do or you had to do in order to get them to be able to go to Mackinac or to Niagara Falls?
Okay, the Rotary is pretty protective of our students, so we really want to make sure that students are safe. And there was an adult brother of the hosting wanted to take the sister and the exchange student. So I had to get clearances from the parents in Italy, the parents here. We had to do background checks. We had to get volunteer application. We set some boundaries as far as what they could do and not do. And the same goes when Gail took them to Mackinac, that we do check out screen the volunteers who, or all family members are screened who are going to be with the students. So it's a pretty rigorous. We do background checks on all all families. You submit volunteer applications, so you become formal volunteers. And so anyone who's really caring for the students will complete that volunteer application, have background checks, get references. And when we have someone go traveling, then we do get permission from the parents, especially if they're going out of the state.
Well,
The other countries, some are protective as much as we are and some aren't. So you have to really go with the guidance from the host families and the guidance from the local Rotary that really set the kind of the rules and procedures and safety measures. But all families are put through a screening, a reference check, and families have to submit in their application, all applicant families, references, background checks, pictures of the home. And we do home visits as part of the process, a home visit and an interview, so that a local Rotarian has visited the home prior to the students arriving and as part of the application process.
okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Oh, otherwise, thank you all for sharing. And this is going to be great to be able to post on the website. I was reviewing a lot of the comments from the last couple of years, the comments that students and parents made. But one of the coolest ones was this individual that said, "My experience was fantastic. I was surrounded by new things, and each thing I learned, I've come back as a mentally better person. I experienced new foods, speaking a new language, and made lifelong friendships with everyone there." So it was pretty cool reading all those fun stories in the review. So anyway, thank you all.
And before we close, for the two information people, Gail's granddaughter and
Hillary,
if you
Hillary
want to
Elmo.
do a preliminary application, that is on the website, and it's very easy. It probably takes about 5 minutes. But submitting that gets the ball rolling, and then we identify the local Rotary and can move forward.
Okay, great. And the website is, it's Rotary District 6310.com. Okay, thanks, and everybody have a great evening.